Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2026, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 78 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat at 2047 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं पुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
So, with the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations and celebrations. Today is commemorated as World Wildlife Day. Sorry. Today is commemorated as Feed the Birds Day on February 3rd, celebrated on every year is part of celebrations of National Bird Feeding Month in US, and feeding the birds is celebrated to bring attention to the extra help birds need right before when their winter stores or food try to running up. So this day is also a great day to think about the kind of food birds like to eat and make sure your bird feeders are set up to help out the birds that visit your backyard with the best food. And the day also offers a great opportunity to learn about the wild birds and their needs. So Feed the Birds Day first occurred in 1994 to encourage people to feed the birds in winter, celebrated in February as part of National Bird Feeding Month. This day is celebrated during the coldest part of the year when the snow is thick and food scarce. So February is also the last stretch of winter, which is when birds' food reserves run low and finding more becomes incredibly difficult. This is a dangerous time for birds because they need extra calories that they get the food from to keep themselves warm but don't have the energy to go looking for its prey. And most of its seeds they eat will be buried under the snow where they can't get to it. So Feed the Birds Day is also a day celebrated to spread information about what birds eat so that they receive exactly the kind of food they need to survive rather than bread, which also most people think is a good food source. Birds need Seed blends that are denser in calories and help them generate the energy they need to fly and stay warm. Nutrient rich seeds include black oil, sunflower, yeah, or thistle seed, white proso millet, and sunflower chips. A seed to avoid is the red milo seed, sorghum, which birds won't eat if blended with other seeds. So once birds learn that they can eat a steady source of food, they will rely on it. So it's important to stay consistent with the feeding. Besides food, people are also encouraged to set up heated bird watering stations so that the birds have easy access to water in safe space. Peanut butter is good in high protein food for birds, and you don't have to worry about getting it stuck in their throats. In the US, 57 million households feed birds in their backyards. If you are in an isolated area, get a neighbor to check on your feeder regularly and top up with necessary while you are traveling. So take note of the birds that visit your backyard, do a little research on what they eat, and set up a feeder for them with all their favorite foods. This exercise will also attract more bird life to your garden. If you already have a feeder, winter is the best time to watch the birds enjoy the food you are provided for them, and one of the reasons why bird watching is so popular is because of its calming effects. So, all you need is a notebook and pen to sit down and make notes of the different kinds of birds you see and their behaviors while they peck away at the feeder. And you can also try your hand at art by sketching what you see and using colored pencils to create memorable drawings. Their feathers keep them warm, and most of the time they are able to find the food they need to survive. Finding water in the winter is as challenging as finding food during the winter for birds because low temperature cause what water there is no freeze. So once birds become accustomed to finding food in a safe space, they will always look for food and they're so consistently filling up their feeders can become key to their survival. For people who want to attract specific species to their backyards, there are custom made feeders for woodpeckers and hummingbirds to meet their needs. Every year, the theme for the Feed the Birds Day and National Bird Feeding Month chart changes to reflect what the National Bird Feeding Society wants to focus on. Birds bring color and company to our lives, so have more birds survive this winter. We may need to give them a little help. Feed the Birds Day is a way of spreading information about the kind of foods that are beneficial to birds by feeding them with the right types of seed. We help ensure their longevity. So, Feed the Birds Day is a great way of raising awareness around the challenges to the conservation of birds. The more knowledge we have, the more we will be able to create an environment in which they can thrive. Today is also commemorated as African American Coaches Day on February 3rd in US, celebrated every first Tuesday of February in the US. This day addresses the need for Black community to embrace coaching to help spur business and personal development. Although its history isn't documented, the significant date trashes baseless stereotypes throughout the history that African Americans are good enough. A mere scan through the history books clearly show they undeniably sit amongst the world's most brilliant minds with super impressive accomplishments. Hence the reason there's a ton of scholarships available. Today is also commemorated as American Painters Day in US, which is celebrated every year on February 3rd to bring attention to the American painters and some of the great works they have created in the past few decades, and are also responsible for some glorious movements that led to the evolution of paintings and their forms. Several artists also contributed a great deal towards social movements that were occurring during the times of war. Their creations brought attention to the atrocities committed against human beings. Therefore, honoring those painters who changed the history of the US is a must. There is also commemorated as commemoration of the Batepa massacre. Today we remember the Creole martyrs on commemoration of the Batepa massacre observed annually on February 3rd in Sao Tome and Principe. On this day in 1953, government colonists murdered Today is also commemorated as Four Chaplains Day in US, which is celebrated on February 3rd every year in recognition of four army chaplains who acted in the spirit of heroic sacrifice and humanitarianism on board of a sinking ship. It was in 1943 and the US-80 Dorchester was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean packed to capacity. Tragedy struck when a German submarine fired a torpedo at the ship, sinking it and killing the hundreds who were on board. It is also commemorated as National Patient Recognition Day. And many other commemorations. So we thank each and everyone for being part of this wonderful session. Commemorations and celebrations. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining in different commemorations. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Take care. Good night.